This is the new nothing phone, CMF Phone 1, and this is the best budget phone of 2024. Hi everyone, this is JD, your gadget review friend. Welcome, and welcome back to Gadget Rev Now. Budget phones are meant to forget. They have the most uninteresting design, slowest chip, sluggish performance, and cameras that no one would envy. This is something that consumers are struggling to purchase as their main phone, just because for the most part, it's forgettable. But for the past few years, nothing company is creating really interesting devices from their flagship to their mid-range series, and for the first time, they're cracking the budget segment with its modular device. Honestly, we can have endless conversation about budget phones, and some of you might throw some exceptional budget phones on the mix, but the question here is, are those phones exciting and interesting enough for you to consider to settle for a budget phone? This is the new nothing phone CMF Phone 1 review. It is refreshingly modular, and this is the best budget phone of 2024. The back of the phone is removable, something you would see 10 years ago, but they've added screws so it won't be an easy access for everyone. They made sure there's a little bit of effort to change the case. The battery and internal parts are exposed, but removing them are almost impossible for a regular consumer. There are 5 screws dotted around the perimeter of the phone. 4 of them are standard screws, and the 5th one looks like a scroll wheel at the bottom right corner, reminiscing of an iPod Touch lanyard loop. It's a fun idea, but there's also a practical benefit to this approach. Like the first few generations of Samsung S series, if the back case crack or get damaged, you can just buy a new back cover to replace it with relatively small amount. Also, if anything on the insides needs to be fixed, being able to take the back off without heat guns or needing to pry the phone apart with tools is a big plus. Also, the rear case isn't the only customization. The wheel screw called the accessory point at the bottom edge also make it possible to attach a variety of other accessories. There's a lanyard hook if you want it, or a kickstand for watching videos, even magnetic backplate that comes with a magnetic card wallet. We don't have them, but these accessories can be purchased separately from their website. The problem or issue with the back is the water and dust protection. CMF Phone 1 is only IP52 resistant. It means it can only cope up with very mild spray of water. Accidentally dropping this to the toilet while using it will damage the internals. And for the price you pay, you're not only paying for the modular design, you're also getting a lot of value on the front screen. There's a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate. It's not an advanced LTPO panel that can go from 1Hz to 120Hz, instead of fixed switching between 60 to 120Hz. The switching might not be as smooth as the flagship competition. There's a little bit of hiccups while scrolling and opening of the apps, what you call micro stutter, but forgivable knowing that you are only purchased this 1/5 of the price of an iPhone. It's a good display like any other AMOLED screens you will see on the market. It's bright, got good colors, it's vibrant, and the dark parts are inky and deep, and although the bottom edge is a little bit thick, the sides are super thin, which makes it like a flagship phone on the first look. It picks up to 2000 nits and typical brightness up to 700 nits. It's easily visible in most conditions, only struggling a little bit on the bright sunlight, reflecting on the surface. This 2000 max brightness is only given to flagship phones, so again, the micro stutter is not an issue with everything considered. It also has a built-in optical fingerprint sensor in the display too, which works really well as any other optical sensor, so for a budget phone, I think this phone is punching above its weight class. Now, the fear of the many is the camera performance like Galaxy A35 or Pixel 8a that borrows the same sensor from the previous generations. The camera sensor of this phone doesn't have to borrow because this is the first generation and nothing had given this phone a good main camera sensor overall. I should say that the dual camera system is gimmicky because the second sensor is only for depth sensing, so there's no use at all for the second sensor. Otherwise, it's hard to criticize the performance of the main camera purely because of, again, how little this phone costs. The main camera is actually useful and pretty strong performer. It's a 50 megapixel camera that can take sharp, color-rich shots in daytime with plenty of contrast and saturation for those attractive shots you want to share on social media. I've shot photos with shaky hands and the images are in focus and sharp, and because it is a high-resolution sensor, it has a good zoom too. I think the biggest downfall of the camera sensor is the night shot or low light performance, and even before testing this phone, I feel like it's because of the price. Nothing will not give us everything we need for a budget phone. Images at nighttime comes out looking over sharpened, very contrasty, sometimes a little bit warm for my taste. On the video side, it can shoot 4K video recording on 30 FPS and Full HD on 60 FPS, so the technology built in on the camera system is pretty impressive, knowing that you can have a phone and a good performing camera for a fraction of a price. This is the video test of CMF Phone 1. So we're looking at the sharpness. This is the 2x digital crop. And we're zooming into 10 times. Pretty good, a little bit noisy. Going back to the 26mm. This is handheld stabilization while walking. Now we're testing running. By the way, this is in 4K 30 FPS. Look at the flaring. Manage it really well. Zooming it a little bit on the wildlife. So yeah, the video quality of this phone is really good. This is the selfie video recording. Sadly, it's only in full HD 30 FPS. And my skin is a little bit smooth on this phone. Let's quickly do the video stabilization. I think the video stabilization is really solid, both the rear and the selfie. This is the low light video recording of CMF Phone 1 in 4K 30 FPS. A little bit soft and noisy. Now let's switch to the digital zoom. Again, it's a little bit noisy, but I guess the quality is passable. There are a couple of areas where affordable phones can't match the more expensive flagship devices, particularly when it comes to general performance and battery life, because where the most modern Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 powered device can crush even the most demanding games and do so without troubling the battery life too much, the CMF Phone 1 is lagging behind the MediaTek chip. It got plenty of storage with either 128 or 256 gigs of storage, as well as the ability to expand with micro SD card up to 2 terabytes if you want. It's all about setting your expectation with these accessible devices though. It will still run just about any games you like to play, just not in their extreme or ultra graphic settings. For casual games, it's more than just good enough. Playing Mobile Legends on this phone is good enough. It's not the highest graphics performance, but certainly on medium or high, everything is good. You might feel the stutter when your phone starts to overheat. The software side looks inviting, the OS looks minimal too. You have the Google cards when you swipe left. Nothing will give you an option if you want to do the monochrome look or the standard Android home screen, which is a plus. Nothing says this phone can last about 2 days of full charge via 5000 mAh cell, and with light use, I think this is possible. Standby time is excellent if you're busy with work, leaving the phone lying inactive on your desk. A full morning and doing nothing will only drain a couple of percentage from the capacity. A 30-minute plug-in with a fast 33-watt speedy charger, this phone will refill about 35% of the battery. 1.5 hours will give you almost full charge, but mind you, on this package, you don't have the charging block, so you need to buy your own or use your existing one. All in all, I think it's hard to beat this phone in 2024. I feel like all the phones in the price segment are forgettable, but this phone is a breath of fresh air, and with everything you get from the modular design, AMOLED screen, decent mid-range performance, acceptable battery life, and ease of access, CMF Phone 1 is one, if not the best budget phone of 2024, and definitely a conversation starter.